The first moment we have your characters, and I want your take on this also, but Kathy and Benny, played by Austin and Jodie, the first moment they see each other, it's like instant connection. But Jeff, for you, I mean, it gave me like goosebumps seeing Sharon Stone for the first time in Casino, like music stops, slow-mo look up of Austin. Like, how important was that to like literally show insane connection between these two from across the room? And then how did you two approach that scene?
Well, you put something down on the page and you hope for the best. And then we got to set and it starts to play out in front of you in real time, and it's better than you could have hoped for on the page. And that's really just because of these two people. So I'll let you all talk.
I think that moment is so pivotal because it was one of the moments that she spoke so in depth about. Like, you could tell that it had been so ingrained in her memory because it changed the course of her life, and Kathy is not from the world of motorcycles or the Vandals. She kind of goes to this bar to kind of give her friend some cash and is kind of swarmed by these predominantly men, and she speaks about the fact that they had their belly buttons out, and she's like, they're so leery and loud and kind of grotesque, and she's
a little treacherous. Like,
yeah, you were kind of afraid
like
for
nervous.
her in that
yeah,
scene.
it's a totally different world, and she's like, she gives her friend the money, and she's like, I'm out, and as she's leaving, she spots Benny over at the pool table, and then she's like, well, hang on a minute, I might just stay for a little bit
Well,
longer.
he looks exactly like Austin Butler, for one thing.
Yeah, I mean, but even that image in itself, our DOP Adam Stone, like that shot of Austin over the pool table and the way the kind of spotlight off the light is hanging, and it's so magical, and I was trying to envision this woman who, was single mother, 3 kids, divorced, lived a very different life, and then she's kind of surrounded by this different energy in this different world, and it is enticing, and I think there's a kind of there's a mystery to Benny, and I think there's something about him that strikes her as like he's very comfortable on his own and who he is, he's very fiercely independent, but yeah, it was a big old scene. The entire cast were in there,
And slow motion helps.
Always.
Slow motion
Always.
helps. Yeah, because there's only a few images of Benny in the book, and none of his face. And that was something that Jeff had first said to me was, that's the enigma of Benny, and the way that you kind of described how you wanted to photograph Benny in the beginning, at least, was from the back and from just getting the glimpse of the side of his face and not seeing him straight on in a way. And he's a guy of few words, and that was one of the things I loved about how you wrote that scene. Was it wasn't about all these words that we say to each other. It's all the unspoken moments in between, and that feeling of connection and being magnetized towards somebody else, and not even having the words to describe how you're feeling, and it was such a fun scene to film because we got to just, I remember having moments of going, I'm not even going to say this next thing until I feel so connected to you.
Yeah.
And feeling that the rapport building as you're not even saying words was an incredible feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, we had trouble editing it because we never wanted to cut away from either of them, because they're doing such great things. Because you got Austin just staring at her, and then Jodie, you did this incredible thing where your head goes back, and you just slightly shake your head. It's almost imperceptible, but it's just like, I'm not gonna do this.
Little smirk.
But yet everything in the rest of your face and your body language was like, oh, I'm absolutely gonna do this. I don't know how that was accomplished, but it was fascinating.
But it's also that line, right, of like, she's like, I've got to go home. And he's like, well, it doesn't say, but he's like, this kind of it's implied like, well, you think you do actually say,
What do I say?
You've got to go.
Okay.
And then she
You've got a date at
and then
midnight.
she stays.
Yeah, I've got a
she's
date
like-
at midnight.
You got a date at midnight.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
Cinderella.
Yeah.